So as an introvert, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me in my life why I'm so quiet or told me that I should speak up more, I'd be a very rich man by now. But after 5 years of learning and growing a pretty decent social life from non-existence, let's say, I realized that my introverted personality was never really the problem. Alternatively, it was a few rather ugly unconscious habits that I'd picked up throughout my 23 years on this earth that were either making me come across to other people as a less confident person, or worse, actually making me feel that way. So in this video, I'm going to break down 5 of these subtle bad habits, which are not only super common in introverts, but will nuke your confidence 100% of the time. So the first bad habit is giving one-word answers. So you know how the majority of people end up in awkward silences? It usually starts with one person asking a super generic question like, "How are you?" or "How has your week been?" and the other person answering that question in the most literal way they could, like, "I'm good," or "It was fine," giving a super non-descriptive one-word answer that brings this conversation to a standstill and potentially leads to it dying a slow, awkward, and painful death. So instead of giving one-word answers, actually give the other person some material to work with. Give some stories, give some thoughts, emotions, actions in your responses. Try to make them more detailed. Or better yet, prepare some answers to those super common questions that you're gonna hear, like, what do you do for a living? Or how do you know this person? So you can actually come across as a more interesting person and spark those more exciting conversations every time. So habit number 2 is listening to too much music. And I know this is going to sound like a weird one, but I realized not too long ago there are some days where I have my headphones in for 80% of the day. And for me, I kind of feel like listening to music all day makes me feel quite comfortable. It makes me feel safe. Like, imagine I'm in my own little bubble where no one else can touch me. But if you're in a more social environment where there's lots of other people around, if you've got your headphones in and you're listening to music, not only are you broadcasting to everyone else, "Don't come and talk to me," but at least in my case, I feel like I tend to retreat further back into my head. Like the music pushes me into this more like self-conscious, anxious frame of mind that I don't really like. And I compare that to yesterday where I went to the gym without my headphones. And I literally spoke to like 5 new people without even trying. Like I didn't really have to force myself. And I think it's just because I didn't have that music that I had to look for entertainment elsewhere. Like it kind of pushed me to be more social. And what was also interesting that because I was so present without that music, I just had insanely low levels of social anxiety that entire workout. So as much as I like listening to drill music when I'm going for a new PR on bench, I think I'm going to keep leaving my headphones at home. So speaking of home, habit number 3 is staying at home too much. So being at home, and I can't really stress this enough, is the biggest enemy of introverts. Like I describe myself as a pretty social guy, but if I've been at home all day for 8 hours and you suddenly put me in a room full of people and said, "Go be social," I'm definitely going to be feeling socially anxious. I'm not going to be feeling my best and my most ready to go and talk to people. So human beings are highly social creatures. And even when we're not directly interacting with people, even when we're not speaking to them, just being around them is enough to energize us, to give us that mental health boost. So when it comes to those things that you do every day, whether it's studying or working, if you have a choice between doing them at home or in an environment where there's going to be other people there, at least once in a while, consider going to the library or the cafe to get those things done, just so you can be exposed to other people. And like I said, even if you can go there and you don't actually speak to anyone, I like to think that you'll notice the difference in how you feel mentally. I think you'll feel a lot better. So habit number 4 is being afraid to offend people. So one of my friends once said, if you haven't offended anyone by lunchtime, you're doing something wrong. We live in a world right now where people tend to apologize merely for existing. Like we'll say sorry for things that we haven't even done or when someone else is in the wrong. And you're probably a really nice person. Like you've probably got a good heart and a good set of morals. And I'm not asking you to change any of that, but there are other people who see the good nature that most introverts have and think they can just walk all over us. So what's really helped me out is to practice being more disagreeable. Disagree with people even in conversations, even when it feels like everyone else has the opposite opinion. Practice saying no to people without feeling the need to explain yourself after. Obviously, don't be one of these cringe people who says everyone's a snowflake and, they're trying to offend people on purpose. But know that if you do offend someone unintentionally, the world's probably not going to end. And remember that the people who actually do get offended over nothing are probably not the kind of people you want to hang around with anyway. So, habit number 5 that you absolutely need to stop doing is excessive negative self talk. So, I know me telling you not to beat yourself up is probably a massive fucking cliche. And no matter how many times we hear that advice, we are still going to do it to some extent. But what tends to happen for me, and let me know if this sounds relatable for you, whenever I make a mistake in my social life, or whenever I have an awkward moment, or I fumble a conversation, the worst part is not actually the mistake itself. It's not like the experience of it happening. It's afterwards. It's like playing it back in my head when I'm trying to go to sleep or not allowing myself to forgive and forget. And I guess what helps me in those situations is to remember that it's not all about me. We don't often think this way, but it actually takes two people to make an awkward moment. And also the simple fact that we're not supposed to connect with every person we talk to. The average person only has 3 to 5 close friends at any given time. And that's not to sound depressing or say that we shouldn't put in any effort, but we just got to remember that there'll be some people who we meet and we'll just have that instant chemistry. Like, you guys will just have that spark where it feels like you've known each other for years. At the end of the day, your energy is a finite resource. It does not last forever. So wouldn't it make sense to reserve it for the people who actually make you feel good? Hope you enjoyed this one. That is all from me today, bro. I will see you in the next one.